Psalm 85. I will hear what the Lord God has to say, a voice that speaks of peace, peace for his people and his friends and those who turn to him in their hearts. His help is near for those who fear him, and his glory will dwell in our land. Mercy and faithfulness have met, justice and peace have embraced. Faithfulness shall spring from the earth, and justice look down from heaven. The Lord will make us prosper, and our earth shall yield its fruit. Justice shall march before him, and peace shall follow his steps. And so we pray, show us your mercy, Lord. Our misery is known to us. May no evil desires prevail over us. For your glory and love dwell in our hearts. You have blessed your land. You have forgiven the sins of your people. I watch for your coming. Amen. Good morning. Welcome. This is the Bridge Nation, and today is Tuesday, the 25th of January. Welcome to the early rise. I'm Ronnie Thwaites, and later on, the Honorable Pearnel Charles, Order of Jamaica, veteran, politician, public servant, trade unionist, will join us. This is the space, the early rise, where Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between 5 o'clock and 7, we reflect and connect with you at home in the diaspora. We want to hear your voices. We want to assure you that you have a place in Jamaica's cosmos, that your views, your ideas, your philanthropy, your generosity are told of, are respected as we look forward beyond all of the differences imposed by history, by selfishness, and by other conditions are put aside so that we can unite the Jamaican nation. How's that for an objective? That's what the Bridge stands for. That's why this is a new and important stage of development of mass media in Jamaica and the world. Thanks for being part then of the Bridge Nation by tuning into the Bridge 99.13579 on the FM dial. And remember, you can also watch our live stream at www.thebridge99fm.com wherever you are in the world. And you can join in our conversation. We know it's early in the day, but join us if you will, calling our phone line at 876-676-4996, or connect with us via WhatsApp at 876-551-5782. We do this early in the morning to connect with people, our people in different time zones. Yeah, and it's a unique mix of the lyrics and the word consciousness all around, informing people about our nation, looking at some of the good things, looking at some of the things that need critical focus in our land. We start things off always by telling you what the weather is like. You, Cola Bunyu, isn't that an oxymoron? Cola Bunyu, yes, wherever you are. The Meteorological Service in Jamaica forecast for today, Tuesday, January the 25th. This morning it will be mainly sunny. This afternoon, we can expect isolated showers across hilly areas and western parishes. Otherwise, it will be partly cloudy. The stars are out this morning as I descended from the Blue Mountains, and the moon is being shy, as it does at this time of the month, but its glory and its faithfulness is always with us. Okay, well, no one must ever say that Jamaica is a land of contradictions, where we say things at one time and at another time, or even at the same time, we seem to confound ourselves. This morning, we note that the Jamaica Labour Party has issued a statement calling for the government to urgently engage the banking sector in light of new and impending bank fee increases. Well, I support that, Yeah, the banks are increasing their fees as of February the 1st. And you can't walk near a bank, much less in a bank now, for them charge you money, even although them have your money. And they are not paying you any interest on it because the interest they give you is less than inflation. So when you put your money in the bank now, brethren, yeah, your money losing value. Not to mention the devaluation, okay? That is the truth. But they are charging you money now. They are supposed to hold your money, lend it out at interest to the next man who is in business or for whatever reason. And they earn the spread. But no, it don't go so. That is broader because they charge you fees for every single step you take inside, outside of them. If you go ATM machine, you get charged. If you go in a bank, if you send money, you pay for it. You pay to lodge money, and pay to draw money. And even when the Bank of Jamaica, as the reports were telling us last night, it waives fees for whatever reason, the bank said, no, sir. We're going to charge not only some fees, but we're going to lick you with more fees. Yeah. The only parallel that I can draw, and it's an indelicate one, and I don't mean it disrespectfully, but I use it in order to indicate the seriousness of this thing, is that when something hold on to you, yeah, and suck your blood, what are they called? They're called parasites. Yeah. Parasites. Okay? No disrespect, but we need the imagery, the analogy, in order to indicate how serious this is. Okay? And may I remind those, with charity and with affection, that there was a piece of legislation brought by my colleague Jackson several years ago now to limit the fees that banks could charge. And the fact that very often when people in the diaspora, for example, leave a little money in an account here and them don't deal with it every so often, it go into what is called dormant account, and them take away money over time. It's gone when you come back for it. No, did they? Right? And all of the people in the parliament then, I don't know if they've changed their mind now, every single one of them voted against any regulation of bank fees. So, I need redemption, and I believe in redemption. So I'm glad now they're changing face. But Jackson's legislation is still on the table of Parliament and can't even get half an hour to debate it. So now is the time, you think? We will remind you who did what when. I always don't like to go back in history and blame people for their lack of consciousness in the past. I could get blamed too. You, everybody. So when you know better, you do better, isn't that so? All right? So now is the time to do better, because we know better now. And remember that imagery that I give you. Shock you early in the morning. Parasites. Yeah, they can take what they want, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because if you leave one bank and go to the next, yes, it's the same thing. My friend, perhaps the best financial analyst in Jamaica by my books, Ralston Hyman, used to tell me that when we added one or two more banks to the number, particularly local banks, that they would in fact create a different competition, would lead to a better opportunity for consumers. I disputed him then because I fear that it has come to pass that what has happened is more or less a cartel has been formed where those who join in simply take for them share. They're not give us no bly. Can it be fair? You take my money. You are free to lend it out at your rates in order to earn your spread. But what you do, in addition to paying me little, pity me little, or nothing in fact, no, for a value, for keeping my money, what you do is charge me a fee for doing so. So you win. Heads I win, tails you lose. That can be right. You can build prosperity on that, please, sir. I wonder. Prosperity for who? So you draw a little money to on the card or in cash in order to to go in a shop or a supermarket or pay bills. And not only, look at it now. Look, just come and talk the truth this Tuesday morning. The money where you draw, yeah, that money where you get, first of all, it not gone up. Your wages don't increase. If them wages increase and can buy $15 million car, all right? But your wages don't increase. And in fact, your wages decrease because the dollar devalue. Don't? So when you go out to draw that little money to pay your shop bill, yeah, you have to go pay forget your own money. And then when you go in the shop, now the price gone up. So you get less. Right? And then you look now. Look, Bridge Nation, here and abroad, do you understand the system is stacked against the ordinary people? Don't bother to come and sweet it up at all. Come, we're not vexed, you know. Well, yes, we're vexed, because we must be vexed in the face of injustice. I read the psalm for you this morning to say that the Lord's way is justice and peace. Yeah? Faithfulness and mercy have met. And there's neither faithfulness nor mercy. And please don't justify all of that by showing me the pictures in the paper how you hug a picnic and give them scholarship. And now that we want. That is nice. Yes, please. We understand that. We're grateful for that. No worries. But please, offer us a better deal economically, you know? And how can we explain as legislators, yes, Pearnel and I are retired now, but how can we explain as legislators that we looked upon a reasonable, in my view, modest effort to put on behalf of the public some brake, B-R-A-K-E, on the extortionate fees of banks, and we vote against that? So who you defend? Who is in charge of you? Yes? How that work? So I note this morning that the Deputy General Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party, a gentleman, I don't know him, Mr. Query, says Jamaicans cannot afford an increase at this time. True word, Mr. Query. Quote, we have heard the concerns of the Jamaican people. Mr. Query, I just know you're hearing so. And are urging the government to work with the banks to find ways to avoid any increases at this time. Opposition member of Parliament Fitz Jackson has been leading calls for legislative changes that would address the issue of exorbitant bank fees. And what has happened to Mr. Fitz Jackson's efforts? Get boxed back by the same people who are now recognizing the validity of what he was doing years after, and still failing to take the steps necessary. Why? Have you thought of why we always go to first causes on the early rise, you know? Because if we just deal with symptoms and don't deal with causes, you never get it. Whether it's crime, COVID, bank fees, anything else, right? You have to deal with first causes. It is because money, we have made money a god. Money is not a measure of exchange, of value. It has now become a god, and therefore those who have it and those who can manipulate it are the ones who act as if they're a god, and therefore they can stick it to the rest of us, don't you think? Offer us negative interest rates, blame the economy and the world system and everything else. Yeah. You very often are the manipulators of the currency, you know. For them, decide what rate the dollar go sell for. Earn a premium between what they buy the dollar for, the US dollar, and what they sell it for. Sometimes a big premium. Nobody can't control that. For them business. Yes? And then when we ask them to please give us back the little money, where we put in the account, the savings account or the current account, and charge a big money and an increasing money for that. Is that justice? Is that the justice which is going to promote peace? Pope Paul VI said it truthfully. He said, there can be no peace without justice. Justice is not only what you get in the courts. Justice is economic justice. Justice is the personal relationships between man and woman, between man and man, between employer and employee, between those who speak on the radio must speak justly and fairly. There can be no peace. Jamaica is crying out for peace now. That's why I read that psalm this morning. That was why Audley played the music, yes, that he played just before. No More Heartache, Searching for Love. Right. So let's think it straight this morning rather than crooked. All right. Well, now, we're hearing some good things, Physicians at the University Hospital of the West Indies, boy, I love that place, are pushing to make life-saving treatment available to the more than 2,000 Jamaicans who suffer from a stroke annually. A stroke is considered the leading cause of death in Jamaica and one of the main causes for disability. An advanced certification in mechanical thrombectomy. I so want to pronounce these things correctly, and not swallow my words. Boy, the quality of news reading in Jamaica is poor, because people don't study diction, and they swallow their words, and they don't read the text before. So I'm guilty of that this morning. I should have known this. Mechanical thrombectomy. A blood clot removal surgery that can only be performed at an accredited stroke center. That's being pursued by the St. Andrew-based hospital at the university as part of an urgent response to the significant number of citizens leaving the facility with mild to permanent disability from a stroke. Well, that's wonderful. And there's a group called the World Stroke Organization that's helping UWI. I'm really in favor of that, That can make such a difference in life. We're told now also that Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has announced a new 20-member cabinet. That's yes. This is a big cut from her previous 26-member cabinet. Who is listening? Mia reduced her cabinet by 30%. Yes. I'm just telling you, just saying. Yes. And in the meantime, she has offered 2 seats in the Senate to the opposition parties. Wise move. And on Monday, Motley also revealed plans to amend the Constitution to allow for the appointment of an 18-year-old gentleman, Mr. Kondewala, as the island's youngest senator. And for the first time, Miss Motley has named a Deputy Prime Minister, Sanita Bradshaw. So you have I tell you, it's woman government time, Lafayne. A prime minister and a deputy prime minister. Now, we had a prime minister who was a woman, a lady, but we didn't have a deputy as well. So 2 ladies in charge in first and second position in the Barbados government. And I applaud the appointment of a young person to the Senate, but he should be there on the basis of his ability and competence. I hope that that's the case, not because of his age. People must get placed in positions because of their competence, and they must get removed from their position because of their incompetence. Yes? Not because of their gender or their political affiliation or their looks or the fact that they're there with somebody in power. Yes. Okay? All right. By the way, just before we take the break and continue with Early Rise and Chief Charles, I want to congratulate the government, particularly the Prime Minister, for the persuading Professor Alvin Wint to become the new chairman of the Heart Trust NTA. That is a very good appointment. Professor Wint is a fine public servant, and he is very, very careful in the tasks that he undertakes. He has a very clear view on education and training, and I'm sure that he will help to reorient the adrift Heart Trust NTA in correct and purposeful directions. I am mindful that he should take into account the report of Professor Orlando Patterson that says that much of the money from Heart should be diverted to early childhood education. How are you going to manage that proposition, Professor Wint? Yeah. And my view is that Heart in the basic stages, levels 1 and 2, should go into the schools, the high schools. Yes? We should learn to be a good technical operator, for example, or a good music man, an employable skill in high school. And then the higher levels is what you do afterwards. And we should do more of that as apprentices in existing businesses. Suppose, for example, a high school graduates were able to come to the bridge here in the studio and learn the craft of Richie and Audley and Lafayne and all the rest. yes, and then be certified by the academy, by heart. Then you connect employment with training and earning too. That'd be marvelous. So some thoughts this morning as succession planning. You're right. Okay, give people hope, prospect. Yes, real life, not just classroom experience. Nothing wrong with the classroom, but it's inadequate. It's only a stage. So remember my suggestion: nobody should leave school in Jamaica. Diaspora, tell me if you agree. Without some competence in at least one employable skill, I believe level 2 at heart, and a competence at some level in English, in maths, and in information technology. Hello, and more than anything else, you must learn manners and how to behave yourself. Okay? Otherwise, don't want to dress you up in the graduation gown. Change up education system. Professor Wint is a good choice. Time for the break on the early rise. This is The Bridge, 99 FM. Good morning, Honourable Pearnel Charles, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Thwaites. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you, sir.
I hear you are waxing this morning.
Throwing word after you. Yeah.
Did you make a mistake?
Did I? Tell me.
Mr. Jackson's resolution
was
debated in Parliament.
And defeated.
Yes.
And then he has filed it again.
And it was, I think it was debated twice.
No, once.
Once?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but it came back for the third time.
Second time.
No.
Third
time.
Okay, and
I was watching at the same time the British Parliament, where the Speaker of the House refused to accept a motion because it was tabled on 3 occasions, debated and defeated. I didn't follow his footsteps. Mm-hmm. So Fitz is able to carry it back.
But sure, thank you for that. It's able to carry it back, but carrying it back and leaving it on the order paper, never to be given time. It's not your responsibility as Speaker to do that. But what a travesty! And how do you think that conscious young people, for example, think of us now as parliamentarians when it is obvious that the banks are leeches? Yes.
Well, why do you go to young people?
Well,
because let me say this.
Because what
my problem with the banks right now, is that have you read the reports of their earnings?
Yes,
billions profit.
They can't lose.
So what is the reason for increasing to keep my money for me?
Greed.
No.
Greed, and because they're allowed to do so. And this one of the saddest days for me was when I sat in Parliament with you, and the entire government at the time voted against any control, any regulation of the banks, and we were told
because of
they have financial power over the government. They control the government. Somebody in the banks or the group of them said, "No, government, don't you dare do that," and the government wilted like a craven coward.
I will not
tell me I'm wrong.
I will not go with you all the way that somebody in the bank have power over
Of course I do.
The philosophy of the government is not to interfere in certain aspect of free enterprise.
So what are you good for?
No, hold on.
What are you good for?
Hold on.
When they're raping people.
Well.
That your philosophy condone that?
But I remember it was Audley Shaw who said that they should go and negotiate with the bank.
No, Audley Shaw said that most of the things that Fitz-Jackson's bill then and now called for were already in place, which is not so, regretfully. And secondly, that a study was going to be done, which would ground a reconsideration. A, the study was never done, and 2, there has been no reconsideration. In fact, sir, as you know, the situation has got worse.
Well,
our money has got less.
Because they're now increasing.
Not only that, sir, they pay you negative interest rates.
Yes.
Yes. If you have a savings account in the bank, the rate of interest you get, yes, is less than the inflation rate. Therefore, your money is depreciating in the place where it was supposed to appreciate. Okay? They are charging you money to step in the bank. Even if you go, as they advise you, to go to the ATM outside, they're raising the fees for that, okay? And they are able, without any regulation at all, without anybody saying, hey, this is just too much, they are able to raise those rates, right? They raise the rates on their lending. And they look at national development and say there are certain parts of national development that we will not participate in because we can't make any money, or it's too risky for us, or our principles abroad, yes, whatever color they are, say no, don't go in there. With the greatest respect, Mr. Charles, your son, who's trying his best in agriculture, has a wall that is facing him and all farmers, that you can't borrow money for agriculture. They will not lend you. And therefore, we are curtailing the very best hope of our sustainable development. Things like food, yeah, because of that. And we are saying, free enterprise philosophy prevents us from intervening.
You're saying that the banks will not lend money for agricultural production.
I am saying that, sir. I am saying that.
No. I don't think that is correct.
Well,
you may say that the rate in which they are lending is unacceptable to the people who are in agriculture.
Would you like me to quote my authority? My authority is none other than the businessman, Mr. Ghazan Hassan,
yes,
who is making valuable contributions to agricultural development in what was the Pearnel large estate.
Yes.
And he is the one recently who pointed out that he, even with his backative, even with his collaterals, yes, could not get a loan from any bank, and therefore has had to finance the entire project out of his own pocket.
Okay.
What more evidence you want, sir?
I put my two hands up.
Argument done. So.
Yeah, but Ronnie, the only correction I wanted to make, because you said that the resolution has been in Parliament and has never been debated.
Debated once. And what happened when it was debated?
Well, but democracy prevailed.
No, why? What was in the mind?
No. But the democracy prevailed. In other words, the majority of people in Parliament felt at the time that they were not supporting it.
Actually, they didn't. Let me tell you something. You were in the chair.
No, it was not on me.
Okay.
It was before me.
I beg your pardon. Then you were in the seats. Several people from the governing side, the JLP, not several, some, came to me in conversation, or I was in conversation with them, and they expressed support for that bill, but they had been told that they can't vote for it.
Well, I wasn't one of those who told you that.
No, you didn't.
And I would not tell you that I was directed not to vote for
it. Why? Tell me what was your reason?
I could be convinced, but not directed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I remember that there were parts of the bill in which the Minister of Finance was himself concerned and said that they would have a discussion for adjustment at the bank. Now, you're saying, and as I do know, that nothing came out of that.
No, and you could have done it a different way. If there were parts of the bill that you found to be unacceptable, then you argue for an amendment. But that wasn't what happened. We got a blanket refusal to do anything on behalf of the people of Jamaica who were subject to the bloodletting.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're on TV. And you said that parasites draw and I was laughing. I said, people don't know what you mean by parasite, but you say mosquito.
Ticks. only use the word leech. But take seriously.
No, I am concerned.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's put it.
Oh, heavens.
I am concerned when I look at the report of the banks and their earnings at the end of the year. Under what condition are they increasing their fees to earn more money? Now, one thing that didn't come out, and you have not, the bank do have some concerns. The bank do have some expenses to keep my money.
Oh, of course, but their expenses are supposed to be covered by the differential between the interest rate that they pay you, Mr. Charles, for saving. Or don't pay, and the rate that they lend me, a farmer, to carry out my investment, my
because
development.
if I put a few $1 million in the bank,
yes, sir,
and they have to cover it with insurance They have to cover it with workers.
Sure.
They have to cover it
machinery,
with all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And
Advertising,
pay all
charity.
of that.
So
they can't take any of my money, pay that.
No, it's here what
they have
do.
to pay that from
Right, but
what
if
interest
they take your $1 million, they will pay you 4%. But then they lend it to me at 14%.
Yes.
And the differential is supposed to be where they cover their expenses and make their profit.
Yes.
And that involves risk. It involves prudence, judgment, skill, all of those things.
Security.
That's supposed to be their skill.
Yes.
If they're in a position where they really don't bother pay you anything, them charge me the big money anyway. And them charge you and me.
Remember, there's some people that don't lend.
Well, of course. So that's their prudence.
So you're saying that poor young, my namesake, won't be able to get money?
No, he won't. He will not, unless this government, and indeed the political economy of this country, has no appetite for taking on the financial system. I'm making a profound point, sir. There is no appetite in this country for using the savings of this country for the development of all the people of this land. None. You come from a small farming community.
Yes.
You have represented small farmers both in St. Thomas and in Clarendon, and in your trade union iteration. A small farmer cannot get any credit for banks, from any bank. The PC Bank was the only source, yes? And they have not worked well and are now virtually in abeyance because small money can't do anything that you can get.
You know why the PC Bank came on?
Yes, sir.
It came on to do just that.
To do just that.
For the small farmers,
sure,
and small
business persons,
business persons,
entrepreneurs.
And
then the credit, my sadness.
And the credit, sorry.
My sadness is the credit unions.
Yes.
Because the credit unions came out of Catholic social teaching.
Yes.
Yes. And the credit unions did that and still do that. But the credit unions have caught the infection of consumerism, and much of their money now is spent to buy a car. Lent to buy a car. I saw a credit union yesterday advertising a loan sale for car loans. They will give you 10 years to pay back for your car at 7%. You tell me one farmer who grows food, who is enthused by the fact that your son, as a public servant, is out there trying to encourage farmers. Which farmer can get a loan for 10 years at 7%? Which? None. We are not serious. We favor the few and screw the majority, Mr. Charles. That is the truth.
Somebody said, boy, Ronnie, they upon him this morning. But
tell me a lie.
No. I am not going to say a lie. There are some adjustments that could be made to what you're saying.
Yes.
Like, as I said, the banks are out there prepared for small farmers. Money was made allocated. But I don't see no small farmers can borrow money. Because him have 1 or 2 acres, half of it is hillside, but him planted a rain out or sun out, and so many farmers cannot feed themselves.
No, sir. And so him end up having...
With what they're doing?
Him end up having to go to MP Charles in Northern Clarendon and beg him 2 bags of fertilizer or a half bag. Or you having a seed, you can talk to Food for the Poor.
Why are you coming into my office when to listen? You're on my desk listening.
Lord have mercy. Anyway, what I am...
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, sir. I want to congratulate, as I said, congratulate Prime Minister for securing the services of Dr. Alvin Wint as chairman of the Heart Trust.
Yes.
He's a good person.
Yes.
I tried to persuade him to accept the leadership of the University of Technology when I had some influence over that, and he wasn't able to do so. He has given many different aspects of public service, but to serve to the Heart Trust is an extremely important role of leadership, which I am sure he will perform admirably.
Yes.
No.
Well, Prime Minister, you may be listening that you get congratulations this morning.
Why not? love to congratulate him, even when he cry.
Even though what?
Even when he cry.
Yeah, but sir, I told you, Ronnie.
The cry is good.
I told you that when I was in school and 2 boys quarrel, if one start to cry, the other one better run.
Run.
Because when man start crying, you know, coming, you know.
Coming.
Oh, okay. No, release I run him a runway.
Well, I want to ask you a question now. You asked me the question, where the guns in Stadium Gardens coming from?
Where the what?
The guns.
Ronnie.
Listen to me.
Listen. Could we dedicate one morning?
Yes, sir.
To discuss crime, the responsibility for crime plan, the responsibility for who is involved in crime, and the responsibility who can we get them out of crime. Who is really responsible? Between me and you, I would they say, I'm not tears you going to cry for that. I blood you have to cry.
Yeah.
Because
she's right.
Let me tell you something. Those who are sending the guns in Jamaica, they have people who are receiving the guns.
Yeah.
And so they have to be working in areas where it is deposited by ships and planes.
Yes, sir. And
so it's not just a few gangsters.
This argument about gangs, it's completely overblown, you know.
Listen.
Completely overblown.
They're the wrong persons.
Yeah.
Because the gun have to come. The gun comes in, like we see in Montego Bay.
Yeah.
20 and 30 guns come in one barrel.
A leader in the tourism sector.
And pass out.
Yes, sir.
Through all of the cameras.
Of course, sir.
Through all of the security systems.
Sir. You know?
And distribute between Westmoreland. Yeah. Well, let me not go on like I know that. But it's distributed.
Of course.
Right? And
it's obvious that the name you call is true, because look at what is happening. A leader in the tourist industry told me yesterday that in one of the worst affected parishes, crime-affected parishes, yes, following your argument, he says, unfortunately, the police is in half of what is going on.
Well, something like that came over the television.
And this is a person who knows.
And let me tell you something. I am hurt.
Me too.
Because if that happens, you can throw up your hands.
Yes, sir. No, but we can't throw up our hands. What we have to do is to say to Mr. Anderson and to Mr. Honorable Dr. Chang and other people, look inwards as well as outwards.
It's easier to control that, you know, because you can move those people by a weekend.
You can move them, but what you can't do is get rid of them.
Yes, well, look, if you can charge them.
Well, look at that.
And there are several ways of doing it. So put them on half pay, put them on no pay, put them there, put them on that, and this and
make
that.
Your point. But
right.
This thing not easy, as you are pointing out. It goes deep into the core of society. The human heart is wicked. Yes, and we believe that value, we believe that prominence, we believe that honor comes from what the things we have. Yes, look at what the Chinese. You gave me this article, you know, sir, from the Vanguard, the Nigerian paper. Yeah. China and the end of poverty, implications for Africa. And there's one, I've read it carefully, and there's one thing that really surprises me. Here is Xi Jinping.
Yes.
I'm not a favorite of his system.
Yes.
I couldn't survive under his system.
Yeah, well, you would, but go ahead.
Well, the drive towards the end of poverty, 1.4 billion people out of poverty, not simply built on raising the incomes of poor people, but in giving them a solid foothold to meaningful livelihood. The Chinese Communist Party has outlined 2 no worries and 3 guarantees, which spell out the fundamental criteria to measure poverty elimination. It must consist, listen now, sir, that poor people must not worry about food and clothing. That's the 2 worries.
Yeah.
And should be guaranteed compulsory education for their children, basic medical care, and safe housing accommodation.
No, that's
so 3 guarantees.
Let's repeat that.
Yes, sir. Food and clothing.
Yes.
Yes, that's the main worries.
Yes.
And the 3 guarantees are education, health, and housing.
Now, what else do you want? To come out of education. But the guarantee mean that you have to work?
What, of course.
And they put them to work?
Of course, sir. No, I can't easily accept their measures. I'm not a communist.
They're political measures.
They're political measures, and they're social organization.
Yes.
Yes. But I ask myself, in the midst of all of the sirens and the outriders and the big house and the titles, etc. Okay? Why we can't do that for our people, sir?
Well,
our system is superior,
Well, you need to...
The Chinese do it, the Singapore people do it, as we were discussing yesterday. Were we so fool?
Well, you need to take Sachs.
Jeffrey Sachs, professor at Columbia University. Thank you, sir.
Take his thing and come here and read it. Because when I listen to Sachs, I wonder if we wouldn't do well with a man like that as head of the United Nations.
Yes, sir.
Because you know what he's asking?
Yes.
He's saying, listen, give up a little of what you have to make them have plenty.
2,700 billionaires.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
Now, I am
controlling the world, more wealth than 65% of the whole of humanity.
Somebody sent me a letter by Lee Kuan Yew, writing from his grave.
Yes, sir.
The letter was distributed after he was buried.
Yes.
And I'm not going to attempt to even tell you what it is. I want you to read it.
Okay.
Because it is one of the most exciting letters that I have read.
Indeed. Well, I look forward to that.
And you see what excites me in it.
Yeah, but Mr. Charles, what I'm anxious is that we in Jamaica, so bright, so talented, yes, that we should at least begin to think of what it will take in order to achieve these basic ingredients of life for the majority of our people. Because right now, our eyes are not on that,
No.
No, what is the purpose of public service? What is the role of governance if it is not on that? I have to admire Xi Jinping as grudgefully as I do that.
Yes. But the point is that it takes a measure of sacrifice. And when you put sacrifice to the people, you jeopardize your political ground on which you stand. And it gets back to what I told you. It gets back to the politics of what you are doing to win.
Yes, but then the politics...
No, the politics is one of the things holding us back. Because
you hear that? The politics is one of the things holding us back.
If I put it out there, you're not going to support it. And if you don't support it because you want a crowd to follow you, say them wicked.
A crowd of hungry people? A crowd of people who don't have no way to live?
A crowd of people who go and vote them out and put you in. And it's been going like that for a long time.
But what I'm calling is for higher morals among those of us who are politicians.
But
because that can't be the objective.
And it must go right across the board.
How you when you're dead and you face judgment, where are you going to explain that your decision, yes, Matthew 25, your decision not to give a cup of cold water to the other man, yes, has been occasioned and caused by your desire to ensure that your followers voted for you. What are you going to say? You're going to live forever? You're going to carry the most honorable to your grave? You think the gravestone is enough of a legacy for you?
Yeah, man, that's ball out in the room. But Ronnie, I like the way you're talking now, but he wasn't talking like that the other day when you're not running lecture. And neither you nor Pearnel.
And if I wasn't, now I know better, I do better.
Yes, but listen, I am not apologizing for what I did.
Right.
But I am certainly, I'm not, because I did it
sure.
Honestly.
So we draw
a break. It was what was there. No, I draw a break and I can look back.
Right.
Because what? As I said, the word sacrifice is not only withholding from people.
Right.
It's also preventing you. It's restricting you from doing something at the end, forgetting something.
Sure.
Right?
Well, I got you there.
And we have to make that sacrifice. Whether we win or we lose, we want to say, this is the way. Now, once we reach that stage, then we can hold up our hand and say, pray for me.
And suppose I say that is the only way to greatness. Yes? That is the only way to greatness. This is the Early Rise on the Bridge 99 FM. It's time for the Farmers Program and the government observances. We'll be back, Pearnel Charles and myself. And this morning we're going to be interviewing Alan Stewart and Cassandra Grant of the Atlanta Jamaican Association, because on the Bridge 99 we want to hear the voices of the diaspora. Soon come. It's Early Rise. I've been reading what you just sent me, Chief Charles. It's a letter from the grave from Lee Kuan Yew, the architect of the modern Singapore.
And there are so many things about him that Jamaican. And there's so many things that we would love to have gotten from him, although we were there before him. Because I heard that he came to Jamaica.
He did, in 74.
Yeah. Looking at.
Yes.
And I heard he was a sort of leader of the trade union movement in Singapore.
I didn't know that.
And he banned the trade union. He said, listen, we guys are holding back Singapore. So listen, go and have a seat.
Because he needed capital, he needed investment, and people had to sacrifice while
he needed, that's a word. He needed that there's a national sacrifice, which he is prepared to lead.
Yes.
So he refuses to take any special aircraft. To drive in any special thing. He wants to be a part of the people. No sirens. And I know, and you know, Ronnie, I'm not lying. I was always nervous when the police said we were late. So you have to carry me around people. Me hiding at the back of the car.
Yeah, me too.
Me don't want the people to see me.
Once it happened to me. And
I don't want the people to see me.
Yes, sir.
Because it must be terrifying when you people back up and you can fly past them with sirens.
And it happens every day.
They don't love you for that.
No, sir. And
me always lie down at the back of the car. And they will say, this driver here.
I love your honesty.
This driver here follow police and abandon in the car. Me lie down. Me bend on my head.
Can you imagine the people the cold in New York, in Canada, and in Britain listening to you?
But Ronnie, one thing about it, I have never forgot from whence I came.
Yes, sir.
And another thing, I never forget that where I am now, if I were where I was, how I would feel.
But that is philosophy enough.
Let me tell you a bad one.
All right.
I was driving my car in Crossroad. Nice car just got from the union.
Yes.
And a bossman came round on me running. It's only God saving from the crown. And I drive up beside the bus, you see. And I tell him one piece of word that my mother never taught me.
Shame.
And I look at him. And a lady behind him said, Mr. Charles, no, not you. Ronnie? A shame.
Yeah.
I drive so fast, the busman wants to say, you better. But you see, that is to show you now, the power. The busman would have told me back some, you know. The lady behind him, was more, her presentation was more powerful.
Yeah. But but also it says something about your spirit and about your background, because you have the capacity to shame. There are a lot of people who lose that capacity, you know. Yes? I came across...
Could I tell you something?
Yeah.
I see Mama.
Yeah.
When you man look out of the bus.
You see her.
I see Mama saying, what you just say?
Yeah.
I saw me teach you.
Yeah. Look at that.
Go inside.
Yeah.
And you know when she come inside, what she do? If you're small, she no beat you, she read a passage of the
Bible and pray for you.
You have to kneel down, you know.
Yeah.
And she put it before the Lord.
Yeah.
Now, a bad beating that, you know. Bad beating, because you have to go inside, go kneel down till she come, you know. Oh.
Well, no. But then, you see, but there's so many examples there, because that is punishment, but that is not punishment that demeans you, that fails to correct you. Extrapolate that now to the national scene.
Yes.
When we are talking about how we deal with criminals, when we're talking about how we form people's character, when we're trying to come to grips with a badly wounded education system, and we have to decide, yes. But I noticed something in the press this morning about teaching children, the children going back to school now. Yeah. Many of the teachers are saying they don't know how to write.
Yes.
That's serious.
Yeah.
But the problem at the early childhood level, which Professor Patterson points out, is character building. That is where habit and character building is concerned. And frankly, the nation is fooling itself right now. I say this respectfully and without any criticism. But this notion that we can start back school as if nothing happened for the past 2 years
Forget that.
is ridiculous.
Forget that.
But
you know, Ronnie, I said long time, and in a discussion, I said we are going to lose some about 5 years, you know.
But then to do
that mean anybody who was 15 gone, you know. Because by that time go back, it's 20 years in line and
but school. Then you see, immediately I have to say that the economy can't afford for that to be the case.
Yes.
The national security can't afford to be that.
Well, could I just say, hold on, the next one.
Right.
The national security.
Yes, sir.
When a man drop out of school, and him friend them don't drop out and friend them get a work,
yes, sir,
and making money, and him drop out and not make money, where him go?
Well,
him come a town.
Yeah.
You know, how if you sleep.
No, sir.
So when night coming here, so some man around the corner and join them.
Yeah.
A gang that, you know.
Yes, sir.
And you just come from country. The town man say, boy, you can eat some food, you know, but there's something for you if you do. And you join, you have to join, you know.
Yes, so you know, no option.
Right?
No, right. But
so you become now a member of the gang.
Yes, sir.
And you grow up in it. And you send go a country with some man.
Some man. Okay. So if you are correct, and you are, in that is the case, my view is you need a state of emergency to hold them manly and say, come now. Come. Yes? No, I'm not begging you. I'm not asking you. Come. And come behind red fence. But what you're going to get behind red fence is not what Pearnel Charles got in the 70s behind red fence. But you're going to get some discipline, some training, some socialization, yes, that is going to make you a different person. If you don't take it, then you're going to, is Maypen or jail you're looking. Yeah? But if you take it, and most of them will, yes, then
it's a chance, it's a second chance.
Oh my. And for many, it's a first chance because they never have any before.
Right.
So why we not do that, sir?
And there are some who chanceless.
So when Mr. Anderson and Mrs. Gorman go to talk to cabinet yesterday, that them say? Because if I not that them say, if I not that them defend Pearnel Charles, we better make the backhoe come a stadium east all the while because there's more and more guns going to come in.
But hold the word. There is somebody before the Commissioner of Police,
yes, sir,
and the Major General step in. Because parents, me,
true,
the teachers, because it's at a certain age they now join the line for the police and the commissioner, you know.
Yes.
But from baby come up to that.
Come up. So therefore,
parents, teachers, person,
yes, sir,
absolutely. Politician.
Oh my. All of the problems.
I catch your back.
Yes, you do. All of everyone. I'll tell you a story. I wonder if I could tell you that story. Once I was at a dinner with my wife.
Yes.
And there was this British broadcaster who was the guest.
Yes.
And he was giving the results of a survey in England.
Yes.
And they had done who are the most popular people.
Yes.
The airline pilots, the nuclear physicists, the urban planners, and so on. So the host, who you know as well as I, asked who were the most unpopular.
Yes.
So he said, oh, well, it was the journalists because the Princess Diana just dead, and the paparazzi, how they're unscrupulous. The parson.
Yes.
Because they had sex scandal and all that kind of thing. The next was the lawyers because they're so devious
they're defending the criminals
and the politicians.
Yes.
And my wife looked at me and she said, "How I salt I get all four of them."
All of them now you. One man have all.
Diaspora, Bridge Nation, I hope you understand. We have to humble ourselves, Pearnel, and I had this program, you know.
Right. But Ronnie, as laugh as we may laugh, a lot of it is true.
So we can do better.
And because we are now exposing some of the things that we didn't do, and there were reasons why we didn't do it. There was some self-interest, protection of thyself, before you protect others, right? Which is opposite to your religious teaching.
And yours.
You're supposed to wear the cross, right?
Yes.
And I walk behind.
Jesus said, take up your cross and follow me. Take
so
it up.
A cross too.
Yes. But and there's a difference between cross and crosses. Remember we were talking about the Jamaican language yesterday? There's a difference between cross. A cross
so
saves
Jesus
you.
carried the cross and me had the crosses. The cross is physical. And the cross is emotional.
It's emotional and mental. Yes. And we have some crosses in Jamaica that we can get rid of. But go back
No, say we can. There are some crosses in Jamaica that we cannot live with.
Yeah.
We should not live with. And we must get rid of. If we don't, it multiplies.
Well, hear me now. There's one I want to take up with you before we break for our guests this morning from the Atlanta Jamaican Cultural and Education Fund. I was listening recently to a program about the control of tobacco.
Yes.
Tobacco use in Zambia, in Africa.
Yes.
And our friend Reverend Garnet Roper is teaching at a university in Zambia now.
Yes.
And they are getting serious about controlling tobacco.
Yes.
We are finally, and I commend Christopherson for finally being able to bring the tobacco control bill, which has been pending for so many years, yes, before Parliament.
Yes.
It don't pass yet. And the regulations aren't there yet. But we're talking about crosses. Crosses sometimes are things that we impose on ourselves.
Yes.
Because smoking is on the rise in Jamaica, tobacco.
Yes.
Smoking kills. And yet there are many of us who, without thought or without sufficient thought, invest in the cigarette company when the cigarette company is purveying disease and death.
But you know, it's so nice to hear you talking. And I look back. I go and look back on you this morning.
No, you can't, because every time in Parliament I rose about that thing.
Yeah, but you never vote ganja though.
No.
And the ganja is worse than the cigarette.
Wait, no.
The ganja, hold on.
Yeah.
The ganja lick the brain.
Yes, sir.
The cigarette lick the lungs.
All that I'm saying, my position in ganja, I want to make it clear to you. First of all, your caution, I accept. I didn't exercise. But my view about ganja is I don't support ganja use. But what I do not think it is appropriate to deal with it any more than tobacco use. On the basis of the criminal law.
No. Hold on. Hold on. I was not invited. I'm inviting myself.
Yes, sir.
That ganja and cigarette. My son, who is a doctor, said to me, one affects the brain, one affects the lungs. And he said, Daddy, two of them.
The
same thing.
Yes, sir.
He said to me, when he does X-ray of her lungs and see this, my word, the black mark coming down from the side of the lung.
Yes.
And he said that many doctors see that. He wonder how a doctor puts a cigarette in the mouth.
I wonder. Yes. And yet we still legalize is one thing. I'm not suggesting that this should be made a crime. Yes. But there should be a huge public campaign
education program
against that. Yeah. As it was supposed to be when we reformed, when we took small ganja out of the criminal law. Yeah. It never happened. And we are that is a crosses we put on ourselves. Yes?
Ronnie, I think
Jamaicans, let's do better.
I think I told you
quick time
why I could not support the ganja thing. Yeah. Because of the man who killed lady and her daughter, sat on the wall, sharpening the cutlass. My father, as a police guy, asked him, what happened? He said, nothing. Yeah. So then he said, boys, the cutlass have a dent. Is in the woman's neck, the Jesus. Bone and the neck, then the cutlass, and he must sharpen it out. And Daddy said, show it, and he showed the cutlass and the fair Daddy. Him say him don't know nothing.
Know about it. And look what him do.
Him don't know.
Yeah. So
I'm from that running.
Let's
I
be
hold
clear.
my head. Nobody could tell me.
Yeah.
As you see, I cried. Yeah. And who I know, this might make you feel good. What if General Secretary of the PNP name?
Dr. Campbell.
Dr. Campbell and Pearnel Charles are the only two. I voted against it. Yeah. Dr. Campbell abstained. So Sir Campbell, why you abstain? Him saying come from St. Ann.
Him know it.
And him know.
I still don't believe it should be criminal law. I spent many years of my early years as lawyer defending people for half ounce of ganja who get 18 months. in
yes,
jail.
but
That is not right.
No, but
that's not the answer.
You watch a taxi man them will fly past you.
Yes, sir. No, I see it.
It's not him half ounce.
No.
And every one of them have something with them 2 teeth back tight. And when them pass you, right?
So we need to ask why. But I take your point. That's as much a danger and worse a danger.
I am man balling out, but the best money that.
Yeah.
Well, the best sin that sin sweet, you know.
Sin sweet.
Yeah, man.
This is the Early Rise on the Bridge 99 FM. Pearnel, Charles, and myself are going to be welcoming after the break Alan Stewart and let me get the name straight. Alan Stewart, president of the Atlanta Jamaica Culture and Education Fund that offers scholarships through the Atlanta Jamaican Association, and Cassandra Grant, the new chairperson of the Education Committee of the Atlanta Jamaica Association. Soon comes. Stay with us. We serve the diaspora and the Jamaican people anywhere, everywhere. Soon come. Welcome, Alan Stewart and Cassandra Grant. Welcome home this morning, both of you.
Welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Ms. Grant is there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. Morning to you. I want to introduce you to the Honorable Pearnel Charles, who is our co-host.
It's my pleasure to meet you both.
Thank you very much.
Morning.
Good. Alan Stewart, president of the Atlanta Jamaica Cultural and Education Fund, and Cassandra Grant, new chairperson of the Education Committee of the Atlanta Jamaica Association. Tell people elsewhere in the diaspora, tell people at home, Cassandra Grant, the origin of the Atlanta Association, if you can, ladies first, and how you are assisting education in Jamaica. Tell us your story, please.
So I am new to the Atlanta Jamaica Association. I actually joined last year and became the chair this current year for the Education Committee. And the committee has been awarding scholarships. Alan can attest to how many years, but it's been probably more than 10 years, been awarding scholarships to high school students of Jamaican heritage, both from Jamaica and Atlanta. And we've been typically giving around 10 scholarships a year. But last year, the need was overwhelming and the applications were way more than we anticipated. And we were fortunate enough to raise enough money to award 19 scholarships last year.
Excellent.
And the scholarship process, if I may,
sure,
it's pretty simple. We announced in the spring, around about mid-March, we announced the scholarship by reaching out to high school principals and guidance counselors and making the announcement on the website, www.atlantajamaicanassociation.org. And from there, we received the applications. And by the end of May, we, determine who the recipients will be.
Great.
And the process is such that, you complete an application. We base the scholarships on need, on grades, and the applicant's involvement in school and community activities. The committee meets and makes a decision.
That's great. I hope you'll keep on that. Alan Stewart, you seem to have the history. Cassandra is a recent engager. Tell us the background.
I don't know all that, but I will tell you what I can. Yes, the AJ has been around for about 47 years.
47 years.
It's been a long time. It's probably one of the largest Jamaican organizations in Atlanta, in the United States.
Yeah.
And we've been giving scholarship for the past 15, 20 years. No, we don't know the impact or how much, if the rewards are worth there for us sometimes, but we have to try. And we cannot give a child, we'd love to follow them all the way through high school, but we cannot. There's some of the kids and some of the needs that we last year, like she said, we give 20, 19, 20, and we plan this year to give some more. But the plan this year is actually to make a bigger plan, I'm thinking more so now that the child who probably might not even make it to high school.
Yes.
I mean, the child in Jamaica who probably opt to go to scamming and to do the gun thing.
Look here.
We just figured that we need to look at that child some more and find out what happened to them. Because I'm sure those guys are those people who were up for that, didn't plan for that in their early life. So We have a program coming up this year where we're going to have people in America, all over America, try and sponsor a child, try and take advantage, just try and take a child, get the child's profile, and follow that child all the way through. Now, if we get one child to come back to the right fold and whatever, that'll be a good thing, rather than opting to the scamming and the gun thing. So we're trying our best. We can't do all, but we're trying. The program that Cassandra talked about a while ago is the most vetted program in America for kids. And the kids, if you hear the testimonial of the kids, you want to give your wallet to them. So no, we're trying our very best with them. And sometimes you cannot give all of them. So we have to once we picked the first 20, we could have picked 50 out of that 20. Last year we got 57 applicants,
Yes.
From about 13 different high schools in Jamaica.
Really?
But we'd like to give all of them, but sometimes we just
you
can't
manage all of it. No, but you do what you can. Let me ask both of you though, Ms. Cassandra, tell me, why are you doing this? You tell us your background in Jamaica, how long you've been in Atlanta, but why would you undertake the difficult task of having to raise funds to connect with people? What makes you do it?
I was fortunate enough. I was born and raised in Jamaica. I moved to Atlanta directly from Jamaica, one of the very few transplants to Atlanta directly from Jamaica in my mid-30s.
Yes.
And I was fortunate to have an upbringing and a sound education.
Yes.
And I want to be able to give back and to allow other children who were not as fortunate as me to get the same opportunity. And so that is my motivation for getting behind this and joining the AJA and rolling up my sleeves and digging in.
Alan Stewart?
Can I just come in?
Pearnel, sure.
May I, on behalf of those of us who did not get a scholarship from you, but who appreciate the investment that you Jamaicans are making and other Jamaicans here, what it has done for us nationally. Internationally, you're participating, but with that sort of voluntary approach to helping the country, I wonder if we have to discuss something. We say whether we shouldn't voluntarily sending more for Jamaicans abroad
so that they can do this.
Because the contribution that they make from abroad, certainly they could not have made it here. So on behalf of the rest of us, may we say thank you all from Atlanta, from America to Canada to the United States and other parts where diaspora is just fantastically, we can use that word.
No, indeed.
Making the
this
contribution.
makes it different. Alan Stewart, who comprises the Atlanta Jamaican Culture and Education Association, the Atlanta Jamaica Association?
Before we go, I'll tell Mr. Charles that we have a thing in Atlanta in the United States where we say, abroad we live, but a yard we love,
Hold on, say it again. Abroad we live, but a yard we love.
Yes.
That should become the mantra for diaspora relations. Yes? Abroad we live.
Abroad we live, but a yard we love.
Who joins your association? People who live in abroad, but a yard them still love?
That's for the most part. There are also some Americans who are American, but who are friends of Jamaica, who are family lineage in Jamaica, who will join the association also.
That's great. What about, I always have the wonder, you people, Ms. Grant has told us that she was brought up in Jamaica. You sound as if you were too, but will your children, you think, the second generation of immigrant Jamaicans, do you think they can keep this kind of spirit going? What do you think?
That's a good question. I hope so. I got 2 kids, and I hope my kids, I get to my kids are doing that. So I hope everybody got their kids. But even my kids too, they think they're Jamaican sometimes, So I think they probably will. Everybody wants to be Jamaican after a while. So they probably will, and I hope they do. I'm trying my best to get them to get, but it's not easy. They're born here, they have the values of America, not the values that we grew up with, but we're working with them too.
Well, that's good news.
One of the things that I did, I was involved in raising one of my nieces. And I always drilled in her head, you're American by birth, but you're Jamaican by culture. Okay. And now she's almost 30 years old and still lives by that mantra. I'm American by birth, but Jamaican by culture.
Well, that so warms our hearts and gives us strength. and a sense that we're not alone, and in fact that we do have one nation. That this is so important for us to say again and again, and to itemize the instances where people are indeed living in this way. That's so good. Tell me though, what's your estimate of the number of Jamaicans in the Greater Atlanta region? Alan Stewart, is it numbers?
It's said to be among about 85,000.
85,000.
Yes,
Wow.
that's what the last census said. I think, yes. And people are moving here from the cold area, so it's getting bigger every year. The house value and all that is up just because the demand is more. So it is growing.
Well,
and I think we have the most associations per capita of any states in the country. Yes. These are the high school alumni who look after the school back home.
Right.
The KC, the all those guys, the St. Hughes. Atlanta has the most of those organizations per capita in the United States.
Well, that's always commendable. Ms. Grant, tell me, how do you gave a website? Can you repeat it again for me? And how do people connect to you? I don't want to flood you, but I want people to know of the partnership that can exist between the Atlanta Association of Jamaicans and the education sector in Jamaica.
So the website is www.
Yes.
Atlanta Jamaican Association.
Okay.
.org.
Yeah, that's easy. www. Atlanta Jamaican Association.org. And
you can donate from go to that website and donate. You don't have to be in the United States. You can donate from Jamaica.
Very
as well
important.
If you have the
Sure.
means to do so.
Yes. Okay. And principals of schools who may have a deserving person, they can access you. And of course you would have people in your association who know of needy cases in Jamaica or in the United States who refer to you.
Yes. And you can email me directly at ed@Atlanta Jamaican Association.org, and I will get those emails and respond to questions directly.
Oh, that's
and the link for that email address is also on our website.
Very good. No, this is so important. The high school education is an expensive process in Jamaica as well as in the United States, despite the strong support of the state. I don't know if you know, Alan Stewart, Cassandra Grant, that there's been a recent report on education transformation in Jamaica, and it points to the need for schools that perhaps are not as well endowed, are not traditional high schools in Jamaica, to be brought up to a different standard. And very often, the scholarship for a child is so critical. What the study points out is that many families are really stressed to provide lunch money, snacks, transportation, books for children, and as a result, their absenteeism is much higher than it ought to be. These are the things that I think you are preventing from happening, and that's good.
That's the very reason why we're trying to get this program coming up this year, where it's not just for those 20 kids. We're trying to get Americans to sponsor a child.
Yeah.
Maybe the child in the community where they were born. So we can have we can sponsor 100 kids.
Yeah.
Somebody from America can say, I'm going to take care of this kid from the kid's first farm. I'm going to pay the fee. And the fee, and I'm not saying the money from the United States to Jamaica, the American dollar is pretty strong there. So
it changed out good,
I'm
man.
thinking somebody can sponsor a child and say, I'm going to be responsible for this child from first form all the way up, and just pay their school fee, pay them lunch money, help them out. The thought of giving is probably the most fulfilling thing ever. And I think, like it says, Jamaicans in Atlanta and the United States love Jamaica and love the kids, but we want to make sure those kids go the right direction, not up for the wrong thing.
Yes, got
Let
you.
me ask
Pearnel.
you, because many of the children are privileged to finish high school in Jamaica. And that's the beginning of a future for them. But the beginning means they want to go on to a college. Can you assist them after high school here over in the United States in terms of getting over there? If they get an acceptance, can they get some assistance paying their tuition over there?
Like you said, but let me tell you, that's a point we're trying to. The money we give for them it's kind of a drop in the bucket for school people come to school in America. I mean, school cost in America, I saw last year for first year is like $30,000. Now we might give them $1,000. We have a little fund which we help them out if they get into trouble, like they can't pay their fees. But the fund mostly goes to help a Jamaican child. But when they come to America, it's kind of a drop in the bucket for. But we do help them out otherwise. We have mentorship programs where we try to help them out, tell them what courses to take to make it easier for them and all. We do help them out otherwise too.
Some just need a place to stay. Some come on scholarship.
Some just need advice as to how to access some of the very...
How to adjust to the American systems.
And they're also...
where to go, where not to go, and so forth.
And there are many opportunities for academic assistance in academic pursuits in the United States, which your experience can connect them with. Isn't that so?
Yes, that is actually a great segue to talk about something that we're embarking on this year.
Really?
And that is our mentorship program, sorry. And this is where we will be trying to seeking to give guidance to not only the Jamaican students who come to the United States, but also to prepare students who want to advance to college and give them some guidance on not only the career and academics, but also to prepare them for the world and to adjust to living away from home, right?
Well,
understanding how community involvement or involvement in school programs outside of academia can assist them in accessing scholarship funding and other opportunities that are available to them.
That's the bridge.
Also, as Alan said, that coming to the States as a high school graduate from overseas, from Jamaica or anywhere else for that matter, you're paying out of state tuition. So for the tuition for a foreign student is very high.
Yeah.
And Jamaica has some of the best educational institutions in the world.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
We don't.
And so I would encourage students, if they do not have the means, because our $1,000 scholarship or a little bit of help here or there can only go so far, but that same $1,000 converted to Jamaican currency, I think can do so much more.
Well,
and whatever else help we can offer. So we help both, but we encourage you, if you can, to take advantage of what is home if you do not have the means to come and successfully.
Very sensible advice, Chief Charles.
Yeah, but many students, like you and I were, both of us went to the United States.
Yes.
When you land at the airport,
you need somebody
to. And it is always good to hear somebody say, "Walk on."
Yes.
Absolutely. 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 And that's what our mentorship program will do.
How you do.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes. And that you know what's your address is. I'm supposed to go to 99.
Yes, wherever.
Yes. And you drop them at the gate and you call and ask. So it's always good to hear that Jamaican voice.
Yes.
And that Jamaican support over there.
Not
necessarily to pay these units the student fee, but that connection.
Yes. Well, and that's what they're offering too. We are so proud of you guys. We're broadcasting what you're doing to as wide an audience as we have here and there, and we want to be part of your bridge, which is doing such good. Anytime there's more news, anytime we can encourage people to contribute or to benefit, we're happy to do so. Alan Stewart and Cassandra Grant, thank you so much. Big up the Atlanta Jamaican Association and your education fund. Thank you so much for this morning.
Thank you for having us.
What a pleasure. Good.
Okay, good.
Listen, this is it. Look at it. These people, look at what they've given us this morning. Abroad we live, a yard we love.
Yeah, but let me say something. I'm embarrassed to say.
American by birth, Jamaican by culture. I love that. What you say?
I'm embarrassed to say that the bridge is teaching me something that I should have known. No, but Ronnie, the connection between the United States, Canada, and Britain.
Yes.
That culture, that Jamaican who want to see.
It is worth billions. It is worth
cannot
billions.
Pay for it.
And what is it that Sir Patrick Allen tells us? There's nothing wrong with Jamaica that what is right with Jamaica cannot solve. And look at this. These people are not stymied by all of the corruption, the crime, the expression we used earlier, the crosses that we bring upon ourselves. But they are prepared to undertake the cross of sacrifice sacrifice.
Yes.
Yes. Miss Grant can do plenty other things,
Yes.
than do what she's doing, Mr. Stewart. Yes. Keeping an organization
But
going.
a yard
we love.
A yard in love.
Yes.
And Ronnie, it's good, because I remember if you ever hear a calypso play on an American, you stand
your
up.
Spirit
After you hear
rise.
you hear so that, well, guess what? Them open a Jamaican patty shop up on East Street, What? Everybody will take train.
Yes, go there. This is the spirit. This is the action, not spirit alone, but the spirit undergirding the action of the solidarity, the community of Jamaicans all over the world. This is what the bridge represents. This is what we're fostering on the early rise by these interviews. We'll soon come back.
Let me say this to you.
Yeah.
Many of our young men and women who get themselves involved in these gangs were searching for a better life,
Sure.
They finish high school. They can't get a job. So they don't have no food.
Yeah.
And they just decide to listen. There must be a way. If there was a program where they could go and get some assistance, continue their schooling, or even here, or get a job, they would not have gone that way.
But then hold on, sir, because you are so right. But we do have such a program. The government of the day called the program the Hope Program.
Yes.
I supported it unreservedly.
Yeah.
The only issue I had, and I put it straight to the Prime Minister some time ago, is that it is a token rather than a substantial response. It is dealing with 1,500 when we should, just taking a figure, but not
Yes.
when we should be dealing with 15,000, where we should be dealing really with 150,000.
You know what just comes to my mind?
What?
Let us say the top industries in Jamaica had looked at what you have just said a while ago and said, listen, we are going to pump some money into the whole program so that after high school, because after high school you're not qualified.
No.
You follow me? You're a Lego beast.
Yeah. So
therefore, you want something now to put you at the second stage or at a stage where you can walk and ask for a job.
Right.
Because it's a wholly potential.
So why that never come in this, not even a penny towards that came in the supplementary estimates? Why not incentivize? I'm not blaming now. Let us encourage. Why not incentivize that? Why not give back the heart money? Yes? Which the employer contributes, which isn't being used very effectively. Let's acknowledge
but the heart program should have been satisfying some of what we're talking about.
It should have, but many of the people in the heart program are not schooled sufficiently to qualify. You have to reach grade 9. Then to drop out before then.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, my view is that the heart program needs to be more and more cited in business, in industry.
Yes.
Yes.
Industry.
So
and industry should be contributing
of
to
course,
that.
but then the
training,
the apprenticeship program.
Yes.
You're taking 3% from the payroll from the employers.
Yes.
Okay. My view is give them back the 3% on condition that they take so many apprentices, and that the role of the Heart Trust is not to train them, but to certify them, to make sure that it is really happening.
Well, Ronnie, we are talkers in this country. We talk such sweet talk, but we don't walk the walk.
Well,
because all of this has been said already,
Of course it has.
And has been started in many instances.
And it's provided for by law.
Exactly.
So
then it just...
Well, so
dead a sweet dead.
Right. So come on, let's change that now, because it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing to people like Alan Stewart and Cassandra Grant from Atlanta, who are busting their soul case, in order to collect funds to do what in fact we are richly endowing here. Yes.
And we can do so much of it. Because as I tell you, at the end of the year, when you boast of so much profit.
Yeah. So So
and you do that every year.
Everything is everything, you know.
And you have, and you're out there fighting for employees.
Yes.
So taking from you because I get a little more.
Yes, sir.
Rather than so your training program you're talking about could be doing a lot on site, you know.
Sure, but it should be. That is what the business processing operations have had to do, because they don't get people with sufficiently basally qualified. They have to be engaging in all kinds of further training at making themselves less competitive, not being able to pay people more because of the
training they have to do for those that just coming in.
Look at the Sandals Hotel.
Yes.
The Sandals Hotel has had to set up a university. For its, of course, their brand will require particular special orientation. But what I would have wanted was for our universities to have said, no, you don't have to do that, because the people we are sending to you are so expertly trained that they can fit into your operation. And in fact, most of them would have done a 6-month or a 9-month apprenticeship. Yes? In your organization.
So
or
you're
a similar
saying,
one.
Ronnie, we need to even go into the universities?
Of course.
We need to go into what happened after high school?
Exactly, sir.
After you walk down with this pretty thing and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly. Me don't want to go to no more of them.
Where you go?
Well, this is it. What's happening to our universities? Many of them have to be giving use of English courses, because the people who graduate and with all the certificate to them cannot handle the English language sufficiently to manage a university course. Yes. No. So we have to go back to the base at the same time as we're saying to those others. Look here, you have to contribute more. You have to take them in. You have to apprentice them. We'll certify them. But it involves that holistic approach. It involves the unity of purpose that I hope we can continue to bespeak on the early rise.
Well, the bridge has renewed the spirit, has revolved.
There he goes. And remember,
it's not only foreign,
no,
but a lot of things should be done right here. It's easier to do it here. Right? And because we born a yard, but we live a yard.
Yes. Tomorrow morning, we're going to look more at what the Chinese Communist Party has been able to do. And anybody who say you're a communist, yes, I'm looking for the results. Yes, what is it? What are the things that they've been able to do to move their people out of poverty? Why we can't do the same? This is the Early Rise on the Bridge 99 FM. Thanks, LaFine. Thanks, Richie. Thanks, Romy. Thanks, Audley. Check you tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Well, you set up for me this morning. I'll come
listen to me. You'll do it tomorrow morning. I can imagine. Yes. Richie B is ready. Stay tuned to the Bridge. It links Jamaicans all over the world. Till tomorrow.